Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I want to let you know that this webinar today will be recorded and sent out after the webinar is over. And if you have any questions throughout, please feel free to answer or to submit those in the questions panel on the right-hand side of your screen. I do have to read this quick disclaimer. The information provided here is for educational purposes, and FRLA does not warrant or endorse any particular provider. FRLA is prohibited from providing specific legal, financial, or accounting advice, and the information represented here is not intended as such. FRLA encourages businesses to consult qualified, competent advisors in these fields to explore their specific situation. This webinar is being recorded for future use by the association and other industry members. Your participation in the call is deemed to be your consent to the recording. So now that we got that fun disclaimer out of the way, I want to introduce today our moderator, Tom Kenney, president of PPK.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate that. Good afternoon, everyone. As Ashley said, my name is Tom Kenney. I'm the president of PPK Advertising based in Tampa, Florida. And so given the state of affairs in the restaurant and hospitality industry these days, the goal of this webinar is to really hopefully provide you all with some insight, some ideas, creative tactics that you can use to extend and maximize your marketing dollars and efforts. So to share in this conversation with me today, I have two very, very talented gentlemen with me that I've had the privilege of working with over the past couple of years. Jeff Gigante, co-founder of Forbici Modern Italian, and Frank Rappa, CMO of PDQ Restaurants. Both these guys are innovative, they're smart, creative in their approach to marketing. So I thought, who better to share some insights with you all than these two guys. So thank you guys both for very much for being here today. I appreciate that. I thought maybe we could start off by each of you giving a little bit of background into your careers and what got you all started. Jeff?
Sure. Hey guys, my name's Jeff Gigante with Forbici Modern Italian, and that's a brand under Gigante Hospitality. Formerly, I'm from Ciccio Restaurant Group. We have like 11 different brands and 23 restaurants, and been doing this for quite a while. I'm super, super proud and happy to be on this call and to give a little bit of insight on what has worked for us. I've been in hospitality for about 30 years, and I absolutely love it. It's my passion. That being said, Gigante Hospitality is something I started about 3 years ago. This is my first brand under my own tutelage. I've been, a part of growing many, many restaurants over the past 25, 30 years, and been a part of some 30 million meals over that time. So this is something that I'm super passionate about, and I'm happy to share a lot of what we did that kind of helped us stay relevant and forefront in our customers' vision during this time.
That's great. Thanks, Jeff. And Frank?
Excellent. So Frank Rappa, the Chief Marketing Officer from PDQ Restaurants, based here in Tampa, Florida. 55 restaurant chains. We're in 6 states at this point, and we are born and bred in Tampa, Florida. PDQ, a year and a half I've been in this role. PDQ is my first venture into restaurants. I've definitely come from the brand and the hospitality side. When I say hospitality, more in retail services. My background is a little bit different than restaurants. It's fashion retail. Worked for Giorgio Armani for 15 years, and then fitness. And I was an executive over at Equinox Fitness based in New York City. So new to restaurants, new to Tampa, but during COVID, really been able to take some of my learnings from the past and how to be innovative in different industries and tie it into the restaurant industry here now. So very excited to work with it. I might have eaten 30 million meals and not served 30 million meals, but we can be on the same page with that.
That's awesome. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jeff. So I think that's actually a nice segue, Frank, to the first topic I thought we could talk about, which is very relevant, obviously. It's the COVID. And, I wanted to maybe dive a little deep into, the effects it's having on your restaurants and some of the ways that you may have pivoted. So maybe I'll cue this up to Jeff. What are some of the things you've done to continue to serve your customers, and how have you adapted it, during these times?
So great question, Tom. Thank you. As I said, I've been doing this for quite a while. So I remember specifically 9/11, and then and that was back in 2001. And then also the subprime, the big bust, the real estate bust, 07, 08.
Right.
And things that we did then, because same kind of thing, right? Your consumer base just kind of falls off. Everyone's scared, they're concerned, they're staying at home. So what we did was we went on the aggressive in marketing our takeout, delivery, and curbside pickup, as well as really got out into the community with our servers, because they weren't able to wait on tables. There was nobody coming in. And then, mid-March, when Mayor Castor shut us down and did the safer at home mandate, I had the servers, I paid them $10 an hour. We put all Forbici shirts on and flyered neighborhood door to door. We put our menu with a nice big coupon on it. Wow. And we got out and let people know that we were going to be creating amazing family meals at a discount, as well as all of our takeout. So we're an modern Italian restaurant that has an emphasis on Roman style pizza that travels tremendously. And so we were really set up well for that takeout side. And that's how we stayed relevant, is, every day we came in and basically set up the interior of our restaurant like a war room, and just were coming up with idea after idea to kind of keep us relevant and in the forefront of our consumers' minds.
Yeah, that's great. That's good thinking, Jeff. And I love how you were able to keep those employees on staff. That's great, utilizing them like that. Frank, how about you?
I'd use two words: speed and accessibility. And when I say speed, our business is a little bit different. We kind of fit in between this QSR, quick service restaurant, and fast casual space. And our guests have always split their time between the drive-through and dine-in. So we knew, obviously, drive-through would pivot a lot quicker than dine-in once we had the mandate stay-at-home order. So thinking through the drive-through, how do we get that speed? Your guest journey changes. Instead of them just having a lunch with you, they now have a lunch with their two kids in the back seat, and they have to go home and tutor these kids that were doing school on Zoom. So the menu, we looked at the menu and said, what do we need to do to reduce the menu, to make it more effective, to get people in the drive-through a lot quicker. We also did a lot of touch points with line busters and QR codes to scan the menu to make sure that process happens quicker. And then from the accessibility side, we did exactly like Jeff said, is we pivoted to more third-party delivery platforms. And we might have been on 2 before, and now we're on 4 or 5. We've also restructured our parking lots in some locations for some curbside pickup. And again, speed and accessibility being those 2 keys to really get that guest through quicker.
Yeah, and Jeff, I actually, and Frank both, I know both of you guys did like a family style meals that you put together. And I think, Jeff, yours was, I don't know, I think it was a $40, $50 thing take home for a family of 4 or something. And I know, Frank, you had the family coupe, which was the tenders, like 20 tenders. I think that was probably a big thing. And did that work for you guys?
Yeah, so I'll take this one first. But for us, we knew that people weren't going to stop eating. They were habitually changing what they were doing because they weren't going out. Well, I'm sure everybody that's on this call, you guys, with families, you understand that mealtime's important. And if you're doing the same thing time and again, you want to offer a little variety for the family. So we created our family style meals, and they would feed 4 to 6 for $48. And then we were giving 20% off of that. And, every order would get like a nice little Forbici wrapped toilet paper. We were just trying to put smiles on our customers' face so they would remember us when it was time for them to order out.
Yeah, that's great. I actually got my toilet paper roll still. I love it.
Yeah. I've been signing a bunch of those. People wanted to use this as their little symbol of the pandemic. So I've signed probably a half a dozen of them.
Hilarious.
I'm bringing mine in next time for an autograph.
Come on, bring it in.
So that's great. Thank you guys for sharing that. I wanted to pivot a little bit, and let's talk about some, creative marketing tactics that, maybe you guys have used over the past couple of years, something that maybe most people aren't doing, or, I'll actually throw this one to Frank because I know you did some really interesting things with the shoe store downtown Tampa, the Society. So maybe you could talk a little bit about some creative ways that you've used marketing tactics to reach new customers.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've shifted to this, what I call we're a chicken tender concept, and we've shifted to a tender loving approach within our community and making sure everything had a charity community component attached to it. And I'm going to use the drive-through example as well. So normally in the dine-in, we've had spirit nights and raised money for local high schools and local charity organizations. And we switched that into the drive-through and actually did fundraising nights through the drive-through. We've also used a lot of local celebrities. We did the sheriff versus the wrestler. We had WWE superstar Titus O'Neil in one of our restaurants, and betting that he can raise more money for the Metropolitan Ministries, the local food bank, to make sure that he's driving more guest count. With what we did was a roundup on your check to make sure that the guests have the ability to participate. So not only are you buying a meal and a family pack and treating your family to dinner, but you're supporting somebody else in the community that is in need. And that's been a big player for us. We also did a lot of work around meal for meal. So PDQ donated one meal for every meal sold at different time frames. And that's what we did with Soul Society, which is the sneaker store downtown, and just created a different guest, the guest that might not have normally come to us, that now sees what we're doing within the community. And it's a different reason to come enjoy a PDQ chicken sandwich.
Yeah, that's great. I was a part of both those events, and I thought those were super successful. And Jeff, I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to work with you on the branding for Forbici. And what's some of the things you guys have done since the opening, and so maybe something more creative or a different approach?
Yeah, so I was a big part of what you guys did over there at PDQ. I loved it, Frank. That was great. Titus is my brother. I'm the food activation partner for his charity. So we also are a huge community give back minded restaurant group. So we started early with feeding the front lines, reached out to the Sheriff's Department, Tampa Police Department, our fire department, as well as all of the hospital ERs, because we knew that, at that beginning of March that they were going to get inundated and have to kind of be on guard. And we thought, what a great way to do that. So I reached out social media wise to some of our great customers that also were philanthropic. We started taking in donations in order to feed, these frontliners. So we did a little over 13,000 meals that way. And then I teamed up with one of our great restaurant partners, which is Impossible Foods. And they donated 5,000 Impossible burgers. And we did what was called Impossible Saturday. We did that with the Tampa Bay Lightning and all the WWE superstars, Titus O'Neil, Natty by Nature, all of them. And we fed 5,000 of the frontline workers. And again, this is just naturally what we do as a group. But this certainly helped and built great goodwill amongst our community, and kind of kept our name in the forefront. So when people were thinking, oh my God, Forbici, those guys do so much good for the community, let's, give them our takeout order. And, we also, another great trick for, those restaurateurs that are out there, at times like this, we're always looking to add value. And my wife calls it gifts with purchase. So I always reach out to my liquor vendors, a lot of our wine reps, as well as the beer reps, anybody that can help us with giving us some kind of a deal. So we did and mostly these would revolve around weekends, where we would give a 6-pack of Peroni out with every meal over $40, a bottle of wine out with and we were able to get those 6-packs of Peroni very inexpensively. Like maybe I would buy 10 cases, they would give me 10 cases. So it was half price. And that was my really cost of marketing, because what conventional advertising costs. Frank, I know for sure. And so we didn't have those dollars to be able to spend at that time. So I was trying to do it in-house and give directly. We would give cases of water. We were giving toilet paper out. All of these things just to go, you know what? Hey, we get a free bottle of wine if we order, this weekend from Forbici. Let's get a family pack and get that bottle of wine. That for us was showing value added, some innovation, and keeping people, hey, well, we can always go there for the weekend. They're always doing something great.
Yeah, that's huge, Jeff. That's some really great insight for everyone. I think that's a great way to leverage your partners, and get a little bit extra, for your
And
customers.
they want to help right now. They're slow, just like we're slow. When we stop, I remember my wife coming home like that second week of March, and she had this panicked look on her face. And I'm like, honey, what's wrong? She's like, there's no toilet paper, there's no eggs, there's no milk. And I'm like, first of all restaurants have just been shut down. So I called Cisco and I called Dade Paper, and they're like, hey, I've got 100 cases of 60 rolls of toilet paper. Do you want that? I mean, there was plenty of eggs, plenty of milk. It was the supply chain that kind of got backed up because, again, people changed their habits. They heard and saw this wave coming, so they bought 20 rolls of toilet paper when in order, you normally buy 3 or 4. If everyone just bought what they needed for their family for that week, we wouldn't have seen any shortages. But, the supply chain got kind of jammed up, and it caused some panic. And, so for us, we tried to add value and bring smiles. That's what kind of kept us relevant.
Yeah, that's great, Jeff. And I definitely noticed that I saw you guys all over, especially that Peroni one I saw. You brought up something I did want to touch on, actually, because you brought up the expense of marketing. And you're right, it's very expensive to market. Is there some ways that you guys have found, even getting materials is expensive, getting marketing materials created? Is there some ways that you guys have found to, minimize some of those costs, or find, ways around some of the, the expense of creating these materials?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Yep.
So I think through our calendar, and normally with 55 restaurants, there's the ability to lose an image that goes up next week pretty quickly. So in the past, we've been, kind of hoarding the collateral and not sending it out till a few days before something would launch, so that we didn't have to worry about losing it and doing it again. But what we did is really just build trust in the team, stuck to our calendar, and we printed up collateral for 4 or 5 different campaigns. And we're launching something in 2 weeks that stores had an image for 2 weeks ago. So you think about shipping costs on 55 locations with 5 different, limited time offers. It's okay. It's okay to print it, do it all early, and send it out and store it in the back room. And if somebody loses it, they lose it. And that really also taught me to just trust and build relationships and partnerships with the team. Jeff talked a lot about vendor partnerships. I remember being on the phone with Dr. Pepper and saying, what could we do together? And they donated 2 bikes. And we did a promotion on social where we gave away 2 bikes during a pandemic. And,
Right.
We wouldn't have had the money to buy something like that in the past. But it also taught me how to build that trust with my team. Something that I remember saying to somebody on my team was, shoot it with your iPhone. I would have never said that 5 months ago. And something that came out great from an iPhone, we might have made a whole production out of it. So just the use of resources internally, we looked at much different.
Yeah, we also did the same type of thing of collaboration. So we would get together with 3 or 4 other restaurants that were in our area and share some printing costs. And of course, pressure whatever publication we were going into, saying, look, there's very few restaurants that are advertising. We need rack rates, the cheapest you can do for us. And we would do those things. And a lot of those were just like letters to our community members. We're still here. We're practicing all these safety precautions. We want you to come in. It's safe right now. And, those types of things, as well as same way, Campari gave us a whole bunch of beach gear and setups. We were doing those giveaways. Easter. So nobody was able to take photographs, right? So at Easter, I reached out to a local balloon vendor and I said, hey, why don't we do a beautiful Easter photo op right in front of Forbici? And I tied that together with some takeout. And we had so many families coming by taking their Easter photo picture right outside the restaurant. And again, I think I wanted to pay the girl's cost on the balloons. And she was like, no, I'll do it. But so we threw her $100 and then $100 in food. So for, $100 and my cost, $30, we had this amazing photo op that was great. And people were tagging us and we were out there taking pictures for people, just drawing attention when you can. And really, at times like this, the creative mind wins because people notice that you're trying. Even if some things aren't great, successes, they're like, well, that was good. Like, for instance, it was the first weekend. We have live music at this restaurant on the weekends all the time. Well, they shut down our dining room, no need for live music. But we called up this young artist that we really liked, and he's like, look, I lost my apartment. I had to move back with my parents. I'll do anything. Can you give me a meal and a few dollars? I'll come. And so we wanted to have live music on the weekends. So he was out here from 4 to 8 just playing live music for the street for people coming, picking up their takeout. And he'd make $400 or $500 in tips each night, way more than what I pay him normally. But he was like, and so he did that the entire time. Like my partner and I joked that, like, you guys have all seen that scene in Titanic when the string quartet gets up and just plays the music as the ship goes down. I was like, we are going to do that. And we did it. And it ended up being one of the most beautiful things that by the end of, people were pulling their cars up and sitting on their hoods and just listening to music because there was nothing going on. So those ways of being innovative are going to resound with your customer base when things do open up. And we saw that in May when we opened back up. So many customers that we just reached through takeout that weren't really our customers, that were like, you guys are constantly trying things. We love it. They came in and they became our customers.
Yeah, that's great. Really good thinking. What's that, Frank?
I was just going to add to that, the fact that it's not too late to do that. And it's not just about asking for your own business. It's about making sure that all of your, let's use the word vendors and turn that into partners. And if you contact all your partners, write a list of all your partners down, give them all a call. You don't know what they need that you could be helpful for. So together you're creating that bond that you're helping both of your businesses. So it's not too late to do that. Continue to do that.
No, and that's a great point, Frank. It's integral and not just food related, but so,
right.
We had a salon owner who I loved. I didn't even know her, but she came to me and she's like, listen, can I give your customers like a $20 coupon for hairs? Or so we teamed up. But now what I'm doing is I have her marketing Forbici Modern Italian to her entire database and her crew. And I'm saying, oh yeah, try out Salon Unoya. They're right down the street. They just opened this beautiful salon. You're getting $20 off. And we're giving more value to the customers that we had. At the same time, I'm marketing to people that I would never have a shot at, her people. So I guarantee if you guys pick 5 businesses near your business and made those phone calls, 3 of them are going to say, we would love to do a collaboration promotion with you. How can we share information?
Yeah, that's great, guys. I mean, definitely we all need to lean on each other during these times, and partnerships are amazing, and the friendships you make even better. I wanted to spend just a minute to talk about, probably one of the most cost-effective ways to market, and that's, your in-store marketing. And so once you get a customer in there, what are some of the ways that you guys, or some of the tactics that you guys are using to keep those customers coming back? How are you communicating to them and, inside the restaurants? I'm curious, Jeff?
Yeah, so great question again. And this is all about grabbing your market share while they're there. So while we're open and dining, we just started our catering program. Obviously a great time, plenty of time for me to work on things while we were shut down in the dining room. So we had started, I hired a wonderful girl. So I have her coming here at night and I'm taking her by the hand around to the tables and just talking to people because, most of these people have professions or, oh, I'm an attorney or I'm an accountant. Oh, do you guys ever do catering? And we do. Well, listen, I'd like you to meet Jamie. She's heading up our catering. Here's a menu. We'd love to drop a Dropbox off. It feeds 4, complimentary, to show you how great our catering is. Could she set that up for you? Absolutely. Set it up, and then guaranteed 80% of the time we get an order within 2 weeks of that Dropbox. So we do that. We were also dropping our to-go menus on every single table. As they were leaving out, the hostesses would be handing them. Here's our to-go menu. There's a coupon on there for 20% off your next takeout menu. Every opportunity you get to let them know, look, this is what we're doing. We appreciate what your patronage. How can we continue to be of service for you?
Yeah, you bet. And Frankie, I know you guys are big on bounce back. So what's some of the things you guys are doing?
Yeah, well, listen, we had to reinvent that dining room experience, right? So most of our marketing is a lot of it is post-transaction. Your table tents, your flyers that go in the bag at the end of it, something that goes in delivery. And if you're not really walking through the entire restaurant, in our case, we're not sitting down. You're grabbing food to go at the register and you're leaving. We had to really reinvent real estate. So how did we use, we added picture frames, just like you would do in your house, or like Jeff has behind him right there, on top of the register to promote items. We took white space within the store and we added a dessert treat on it. Normally you would just read the menu and your eyes would be done, but now we have a dessert at the end of it in this big white space. It's a new place for you to look. And then for bounce backs, we really focus through delivery. How do we really engage with that guest, making sure that we invite him back for a second time? Not only did you just order with a third party, but come to us through drive-through. So we're changing your either your day part or your pattern that you would visit us with. So if you came for lunch, here's your coupon to come back for dinner.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's actually worked really well for you guys.
Yeah.
So we have about 5 minutes left, and I want to leave some room for questions. Maybe we could just kind of wrap it up here with some general things. And I'd like to ask, both of you guys this, what is one tactic, if you could recommend to this group listening of viewers, one tactic that you've used that you would recommend to them. It's cost effective, it's creative, and it worked for you really well. And I throw that to each of you.
Let me grab that, Jeff.
Yeah, you grab first.
Personalization. Jeff and I did speak a lot about personalization with your vendors, but also with your guests, and social is a great way to do that. We have 31,000 Instagram followers. That's a community that's engaging right off the bat, but making sure every single person has a response, a personalized response, and we re-engage them. And what I mean by that is this week we relaunched zucchini fries, which we pulled off for a limited time. We relaunched them, and we had a calendar invite for the marketing team for all of us to sit at our table and go through every single social platform from March to now. Anyone who wrote a comment about zucchini fries, we interacted and said, guess what? They're back. Can't wait to see you. It's free, doesn't cost anything, and it's personalized. To have somebody sit at their table and say, wow, they wrote me, it means a lot. Same thing with contests within the stores. We took that same mentality with our team members and said, how can we encourage them to sell 5 more chicken tender sandwiches or something? And then with that, what we did is we literally went old school with a fishbowl. We dropped names of people that sold it in the contest. We had our co-founders pick out the names, and we sent a video to the entire field, and they mentioned my name. So when a team member hears that a co-founder of their company mentioned their name on a call, it's meaningful. So personalization is what I would leave you with.
That's great. Yep. And Jeff, same question.
Yeah. So I want to premise this by this, because I know, Frank, you're dealing with it, and Tom, even in your business. Guys, we are in unprecedented waters here. And, there's like a national depression brewing because of the challenges that we're up against. Any source of positivity that you can find in your life, I do it in the morning. I try to find positive stories instead of all of this negativity. And I constantly try to spread that to my leaders, and they spread that down the line, and that really trickles all the way down to the customers. It's not always going to be this tough. It is going to get better. This is something temporary. And sadly, our industry is taking it forefront on the chin, very, very difficult. I deal with that every single day, like all of you do. That said, I think there's no better way to get the story out about what you guys are doing than you personally, or with your team or leaders or GMs or whoever it is that tells the story of your brand, being out there, like what Frankie was saying about talking and personalizing the story. I do these Monday motivation videos, and I haven't done a ton of them, but I've done 7 or 8 of them. And then what we do is we put some gas behind that on social media, just to kind of get the word out that there's a face out there and we're talking about it. And yes, it's difficult, but here's how we're winning this war. And I think that makes all the difference. And, we've been able to garner a ton of media exposure only because, sadly, in this day and age, somebody who chooses to fight for their business and stay open and not want to really, close down is newsworthy. So we take those little news stories and we pound them on social saying, you know, we're so happy and proud to be able to be featured on MSNBC or CNBC or the Tamron Hall Show, all these things that we got, and we just try to give them more life out in the cyberspace. So people keep seeing, wow, the Mention and Forbici and those guys are doing great. Well, we're not doing great, but we're just, you know, we're head and neck above the water, where a lot of people are, you know, their nose is sticking out. So for us, it's really perception becomes reality in times like this. And as long as you're willing never to quit, you're going to be fine. And what's going to happen is the people that weren't meant to be in this business won't be in this business. And then when we all get through it, there's going to be that much more market share for you to gain. So hold tight. It won't be bad like this forever. And every day that you continue to fight this good fight is going to be one day closer to coming through the other side, which is going to be really beautiful.
Yeah, that's very insightful, Jeff. I agree with you. And I have had the pleasure of seeing a couple of your motivational videos. They're great. So
Yeah.
keep those going, man. Those are good.
Well, you know, my wife says, you know, you should put some motivation in them instead of just all doom and gloom. I'm trying to be real, but the motivation is that I'm here talking during this, you know, shit show of a time that, you know, and again, you've got to try to lead your teams because there is a ton of uncertainty out there. So the more positive you can bring to your team, you know, the better you're going to be for this fight, because you've got to fight the war with who you're with right now. You know what I mean? It's difficult to hire at times like these.
No doubt, no doubt. And I've even found in our business, communication is key. Just communicating to everyone and staying in touch, just to know that, you know, someone's actually there. So I think that's wonderful. You guys shared a bunch of great information. I really appreciate that. I appreciate how you got into the weeds a little bit and shared some of your personal stories. So thank you very much for that. Ashley, if you're there, I guess I wanted to leave maybe 10 minutes or so if there's any Q&A that the group may have.
Yes, we do have a couple good questions for you guys. So how do you guys feel about the movement toward paperless menus and using QR codes?
I'll take this. So I wasn't a huge fan of that because I just know the span of my customer base. You know, a lot of people weren't going to adapt to that, but I traveled down to Miami and it was everywhere, and I found how ease of use it was. So we changed to that recently, and we're getting tremendous response from that. So that's just another way of showing, look, I don't know everything. I've been doing this for a lot of years, and I thought something wouldn't take, and it's taken amazing. And I try to keep that as a educational point for my leadership, is saying, look, you know, you younger kids should have been like, are you kidding me? We have to be QR codes and fight for what you believe in. And so that's worked well for us. I'm sure you too, Frank.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to add to that. We did table numbers when we got your order. When you got your order, you put a table number on your table and you scanned a QR code, and it took you right to our fan club. So it's something our guest has been used to. We don't necessarily need to do it with menus. We're not sit down. You walk in, the menu's above us or the menu's in the drive-through. But creating that content beyond just the menu. If you're the fourth car in line at the drive-through and there's a line buster taking your order, what other QR code can they scan that gives them some kind of activity to do up until when they go order? It could be all of the different varieties of the Coke flavors on our freestyle machine that we have. It could be a conversation around a new menu item that we're launching, why we picked Pop-Tarts as our next shake. So just gives them something else to read besides a news article or going through Facebook.
Great, thank you. So we have one more before we bring it home. Restaurants have been under the microscope. What can we do as an industry to show that we are doing the right things?
I think we both said a lot of that, but it's partner with the community. It's really making sure that you're a community-based business versus just a commerce-based business. You have to be genuine in what you do with the community connection. Again, 55 restaurants, but we like to consider ourselves your local PDQ. Really standing true to that is very important.
Yeah, for me, and that's a great question. I love this. Again, part of being innovative. So we got our order from the governor to open up May 4th. I remember that because May the 4th be with you. So that was when we first got our opening. On May 3rd, or I think it actually was May 4th, that first day when we had hardly any customers, we filmed a video how we're handling this, the safety precautions and how we're serving you. And, you know, we were doing the temperature taking, and we were doing hand sanitizers, you know, single-use menus. We had a video, and again, I reached out to my friends who are in video production, and I was like, how are you guys doing? They're like, we're absolutely dead. I was like, well, I know what normally I would pay you. This is what I can pay you, and I can feed you guys. Can you come in and shoot a video and turn it around in a day for me? And they did that. So we were very early to launch our little, and if you go to our social media, you'll see it. It's you know, how Forbici keeps you safe at dining in. And it's on our Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. But again, storytelling is everything. If you can continue to tell your story in a personalized way, you're gonna win customers.
I'll shoot anything you want, Jeff, for some of that food.
Yeah.
Be careful what you say that, though. Be careful. I just did another one that we just launched today, our contactless delivery. You know, I was laying in bed last week and my wife's like, look at this Domino's pizza. And it was a very cool commercial and it was funny. So we created our own version of that because, you know, we glove, mask, we go it out, we put it in your car, we don't touch anything and do that whole curbside. Plus, of course, Uber Eats, DoorDash, and our own Toast online ordering platform. But again, that, you know, I did that video for 25% of what I would have normally paid because people want to work right now. And if you're hiring them and they're doing you a solid, you know, again, you know, that you always keep that carrot there. But of course, I'm going to give them business when you know they come back around.
Definitely.
Right, and then just one last comment, you know, talking about telling your story, what are your thoughts on food bloggers?
Yeah, there's no better time for them than right now. I mean, they're helping us launch a new item. We just launched wings in one of our markets, and having them in there, getting them excited about the food. Again, that's that barter. I hate to say it, but it's a barter relationship of really making sure the food bloggers out there and tasting your food before anybody else. And it allowed us to take this exclusive fan club that we've had, and normally we do offers, and offers doesn't necessarily need to be a promotion, but it's the first insight to something. So we launch it with a food blogger or a social influencer, and then we put it out to our fan club where they can try it before anybody else. Very valuable.
Yep. We work with the micro influencers all the time and constantly looking to, again, create a collab with them. So what we do is I reached out to our landlord here because, you know, we're in a Hyde Park Village is a collection of shops, maybe 40 or 50 retail shops. So I see if WS would be willing to foot some of the bill for the meal. This way I get paid for that, as well as reach out to some of their other tenants as a landlord showing value. So if we have these influencers come in and, you know, a lot of times they're fashion as well as food, or their travel or makeup. And so they're able to get more value, and this way we create a little bit more of a collaboration where, oh my God, this girl Danielle's going to be here. She's got 250,000 Instagram followers, and she's going to be going to Sonny Spencer and then having dinner at Forbici, and it's kind of like a big thing. And then, you know, we're able to share those. You know, obviously they always want to do their posts from their site first, and then we link up and do their posts with them.
It's also allowed us to get into a different audience. So we used fitness bloggers who we normally wouldn't think of as a PDQ guest, but we use fitness bloggers who are not teaching classes. Maybe their cycling class has been canceled and their studio's closed or just open with lower capacity. And what we've done with them is our grilled assortment, or salads, or grilled tenders, and how they can use that to help push their customer, their audience.
Right.
So it's been really good to get into a different group.
Great, thank you. Well, that's all the questions we have for today. Tom, do you have anything else you want to add before we close?
No, I just wanted to, just want to thank you both you guys for really spending the time with us, sharing all that knowledge and information. I think it's very valuable for everyone on the webinar. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. And I just want to thank you guys for doing that. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Ashley.
Yes,
Yeah, this was
thank
great.
you. And thank you everyone for joining us. Have a good afternoon.
All right.
Thanks, Ashley. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.